Indonesia, the largest island chain on the planet. Cloaked in tropical rainforests and warmed by clear blue seas, it's a paradise for a unique range of species. While many regions throughout the world witness a wide range of weather conditions, in Indonesia, it's a case of either extremely dry or extraordinarily wet. Trapped in the heart of monsoon territory, creatures have learned to capitalize on some of the most powerful rainstorms on the planet. Situated in Southeast Asia, Indonesia's 17,000 islands cut a line through the Indian and Pacific Oceans. More than 2/3 of the land is covered by tropical rainforest. Approximately 15% of the world's animal species live here. And isolation has seen creatures evolve in unique ways. With highs of up to 35 degrees Celsius, even at night, temperatures across the archipelago rarely dip below the mid-20s. Here on the equator, fresh water and shade are two of the most vital commodities. Although much of Indonesia receives sporadic rain throughout the year, this alone wouldn't be enough to sustain the rich abundance of life. Fortunately, change is on the horizon. The annual monsoon rains, lasting 6 months, are just days away. Sulawesi sits at the heart of Indonesia's archipelago and is the 11th largest island on the planet. No point on the island is more than 100 kilometers from the sea. As midday approaches, one of Indonesia's most inquisitive residents breaks cover from the forest shade. Crested black macaques are one of the island's largest primates and spend most of their time foraging on the ground. With so little need to climb trees, they've almost done away with a balance-enhancing tail. Led by the alpha male, the 20-strong troop scour the shoreline for washed-up seeds and flower buds. It's the end of the dry season, and fruits from the previous monsoon are at an all-time low. So anything they can get their hands on will do. At this time of year, rainwater from the odd light shower quickly evaporates. With fresh water so scarce, some resort to desperate measures. In the long term, however, a mouthful of salty surf only adds to dehydration. Despite standing just 60 centimeters tall and weighing less than 10 kilos, Sulawesi's black macaques have no major predators. Although they do have to keep a close eye on a potentially lethal neighbor. Especially now, when food is so scarce. Water monitors can reach a length of 3 meters and are the second largest lizards in the world. They're excellent swimmers and one of the few reptiles to tolerate salt as well as fresh water. A flattened tail propels them through the shallows with fish-like ease. They can remain submerged for up to half an hour. However, swimming at the surface allows them to keep an eye out for potential feeding sites. Water monitors will eat anything they can swallow. They'll even resort to cannibalism. They dominate the entire island chain and declare their presence with an unruly reptilian swagger. Using its forked tongue to pick up scent, this individual locks on to a potential meal. The macaques know this hunter well, so respect its powerful jaws and whip-like tail. For their size, water monitors are fast runners, hitting bursts of up to 20 kilometers an hour when chasing down their prey. Today's meal requires little use of this individual's powerful legs. But they may come into place soon, as someone else has wind of the shoreline snacks. Water monitors are solitary creatures. They're not precious over territory and avoid direct conflict with their own kind at all costs. But when food is scarce, it's every lizard for itself. This time it appears pride is the only injury. High above them, however, a different storm is brewing. The monsoon rains signal an end to the dry season. Torrential downpours will come and go for the next 6 months. For many island creatures, the banquet is set to begin. Not only does Indonesia lay claim to the second longest coastline in the world, it's also home to some impressive freshwater lakes. Lake Toba on the island of Sumatra stretches 100 kilometers long by 30 kilometers wide. It's the largest volcanic lake on the planet. This was the site of the greatest eruption on Earth in the past 2.5 million years. It was over 200 times more powerful than anything witnessed by modern-day man. Spewing out 3 trillion tons of magma, equivalent in mass to more than 19 million Empire State Buildings. The resulting ash cloud had a major effect on global climate, blocking out the sun, lowering temperatures, and wiping out many forms of life. Deposits of ash even made it as far as East Africa, more than 7,000 kilometers away. Lake Toba's supervolcano eventually collapsed, leaving behind an enormous crater and a gigantic reservoir for Indonesia's monsoon rains. Indonesia's vast network of rivers and lakes is home to over 1,300 species of freshwater fish. Heavy downpours flush organic matter from the surrounding land, luring fish to the surface to feed. But leaving the security of the deep is a risky business, especially with eagle-eyed predators roaming the skies. With a wingspan of just over a meter, Brahminy kites are medium-sized birds of prey. They're far from fussy eaters and have colonized the entire island chain. Carrion, reptiles, frogs, even insects are on the menu. However, fish are a particular delicacy. When they can catch them. Soaring 50 meters above the lake's surface, this individual spots a potential meal. This time the mission fails. He can't risk getting his wing feathers wet, as he'll be too heavy to fly. So the fish must be snatched from the surface. Getting his sharp talons to grip is just a numbers game. Others get wind of the offerings and decide to try their luck too. Brahminy kites are communal birds. More than 100 have been known to share a roost. With so many birds hunting in such a small area, aerial acrobatics are essential to avoid mid-air collisions. Finally, the kite's efforts pay off. Back on Sulawesi, things are looking up for the crested black macaques. After enduring 6 months of dry weather, they can now benefit from the recent heavy monsoon rains. As well as providing fresh drinking water, the downpours fuel a banquet of more than 100 varieties of fruit. Beachcombing is a thing of the past, for now at least. There's so much food on offer, the troop can even afford to be choosy. Less ripe fruits are quickly discarded. However, one monkey's hand-me-downs are another's treasure. Mangoes, figs, and breadfruit provide essential carbohydrates as well as vitamins. Despite the deluge of fruit sugars and fiber, this still isn't enough to fulfill their nutritional needs. Fortunately, rotting logs provide the ideal home for burrowing insects. And termite larvae are the perfect protein-packed treat. At this time of year, squabbles between the elder members of the troop are rare. Full stomachs induce a peaceful atmosphere. Although this doesn't appear to be the case among the youngsters of the group. Grooming is a daily ritual. Not only does it reinforce social bonds, it's a great way to relax. The tranquility doesn't last long. The troop have company. Birds follow the macaques as they discard seeds and disturb insects. And where there are birds, there are usually nests. Despite their enormous size, water monitors are excellent climbers. And this individual seeks out a favorite meal: eggs. Sharp 3-centimeter long claws act like climbing spikes as it scales the trunk with ease. But these can quickly become lethal weapons to a cornered baby macaque. The predator now has eyes on a different bounty. The concerned troop look on, unsure how to react. But there's little they can do. The baby macaque edges away along thinner branches that only just support her weight. The lizard knows he's too heavy to follow, so abandons his mission. Getting down, however, isn't that straightforward, especially when there's an unwelcoming reception party waiting below. Fortunately, it's just the distraction the baby macaque needs to rejoin the troop. The macaques decide to move on in search of more peaceful pasture. That's the plan, at least. Approximately 100 kilometers west of Sulawesi lies Indonesia's largest island. Covering an area of almost 750,000 square kilometers, Borneo is the third largest island in the world, 4 times the size of Sulawesi. These rainforests date back 140 million years, making them some of the oldest on the planet. Borneo is home to many rare species that have evolved in unique ways, including its most famous resident. Like many other primates across Indonesia, orangutans also capitalize on the deluge of fruit, fueled by the monsoon rains. The recent downpours also benefit Borneo's birds. More than 650 species call this island home. The damp conditions boost the insect population, meaning abundant food for hungry chicks. Racket-tailed drongos, with their elaborate tails, are one of the most conspicuous residents. These tail plumes are more than twice the length of its body, proportionally some of the longest among all bird species. But in these forests, it's wise to keep a low profile, as not everyone is satisfied with eating just fruit. With a face like a cat, body of a bear, and a tail more suited to a monkey, the binturong is possibly the oddest creature on the island. Weighing in at around 30 kilos and a body just under a meter in length, this mongoose-like carnivore will eat almost anything it can lay its paws on. However, it has a particular favorite: birds' eggs. And this drongo may have betrayed the whereabouts of her nest. The binturong's sharp sense of smell tunes into the potential feast. The bird tries to distract the predator. But her efforts appear in vain. Binturongs are excellent climbers. Apart from primates, they're one of just a handful of mammals with a prehensile tail. This acts as a fifth limb when scaling the branches. Semi-retractable claws and reversible ankle joints provide excellent grip, especially when climbing down head first. Finally, he locates the nest. For the victim, all is not lost. Like many species of bird, drongos are capable of laying a second clutch should the first be destroyed. As night draws in, another hunter benefits from the recent storms. Buffy fish owls stand 50 centimeters tall and are one of the largest owl species on the island. This individual keeps a close eye on the swollen stream, waiting for signs of movement on the surface. During the monsoon, parts of the forest floor become flooded, allowing fish to venture into shallower waters. The eagle-eyed predator plans to capitalize on these newly created feeding grounds. Unlike most owls, Buffy fish owls rely on sight rather than hearing to seek out their prey. They lack the typical disc-shaped face used by other species to channel sound. They also lack the soft flight feathers that allow most owls to swoop in silence. Their quarry lies underwater and is unable to hear, no matter how much noise they make. Once within striking range, the owl remains completely still. These unfeathered legs have evolved to get wet. Even her toes have spiky, non-slip scales. Her eyes lock onto the target. For the fish, there's no escape. Her oversized razor-sharp talons kill the victim almost instantly. A hawk-like hooked bill maintains a firm grip on the slippery prey before being swallowed whole. She'll hunt from this perch almost every night throughout the monsoon season. Indonesia's climate is governed by its unique geography. Not only does the island chain sit at the heart of the largest reservoir of warm water on the planet, where the Pacific and Indian Oceans meet, it also lies between two major landmasses, Asia and Australia. Throughout the year, these continents heat up, taking turns to draw air in from the surrounding oceans. It's this oscillation that delivers 6 months of dry winds from the Australian continent, and afterwards, the torrential rains from the moist Asian and Pacific air masses. While the monsoon rains boost the insect population, certain nocturnal hunters take advantage of this increased food supply. Spectral tarsiers are one of the world's smallest primates. Their body length rarely exceeds 14 centimeters. So compact, they could fit into a human hand. Enormous eyes are this nocturnal hunter's greatest physical attribute. They're bigger than both its brain and stomach. Proportionally, they have the largest eyes of any mammal. Bat-like ears, capable of detecting the slightest rustle, alert the tarsier to potential victims skulking in the shadows. Despite the cute and cuddly looks, tarsiers have a darker side. Using their elongated hind legs, they leap up to 5 meters between branches. Padded fingertips and claws provide glue-like grip when landing. With up to 8 members in a group, competition for food can be tough. And in tarsier society, it's a case of first come, first served. The moonlight lures another hunter from its daytime den. This is no ordinary creature. Its serpent-like scales and dragon-like claws complement a set of lizard-like limbs. Despite the reptilian features, this solitary predator is actually a prehistoric mammal. Known as a pangolin, it's on the trail of its favorite feast. Ants. Pangolins have poor vision, so they rely on an excellent sense of smell and acute hearing to locate their prey. The trail stops at the base of a tree. Pangolins are superb climbers, so this individual heads into the canopy. Finally, he locates the colony. Using a 40-centimeter long sticky tongue, he hoovers up the ants. As mammals go, pangolins are unique. They lack teeth, so rely on a muscular internal stomach wall lined with spines to help digest their meals. Small ingested pebbles grind the stomach contents, similar to a bird's gizzard. The ants' efforts to defend their nest are futile. It's impossible to penetrate the predator's tough, armor-plated skin. Pangolins have been known to consume up to 200,000 ants a night. Fortunately, raids are short-lived, giving their victims a chance to regroup and rebuild their depleted colonies. The monsoon not only delivers life-giving rains to Indonesia's islands, it can also have a more destructive effect. Shoreline damage can affect the ecosystem. However, many of Indonesia's islands fight back. Mangroves are a group of trees and shrubs that keep one foot on land and another in the sea. They thrive in poorly aerated soil and form one of the most complex ecosystems on the planet. A vast network of aerial roots absorbs essential oxygen and also provides structural support. These dense root systems trap sediment flowing off the land, which in turn stabilizes the shoreline. They also dissipate wave energy and act as windbreaks. Indonesia contains the largest mangrove forest in the world. 30,000 square kilometers grow along the island's coasts, a fifth of all mangrove ecosystems on the planet. Certain creatures have learned to capitalize on this nutrient-rich, protective environment. Mudskippers are equally at home in water or on land. Like amphibians, in open air they can breathe through their skin. But mudskippers need to retain a gulp of water in their gill chamber to prevent it drying out. This way they're able to survive on land for up to 3.5 days. When the tide retreats, a feeding frenzy begins. This individual sifts through the exposed mud, filtering out microscopic creatures. Insects, worms, and small crustaceans are also on the menu. Conflict over feeding rights is common. Usually the flash of a fin is enough to claim a territory. But sometimes a show of gums is also called for. Back on the island of Sulawesi, the monsoon has delivered another gift for the crested black macaque troop. Along with an abundance of fresh fruit, parts of the rainforest floor have been transformed into a water park. While the adults in the group quenched their thirst, the youngsters let off steam with a game of monkey tag. Play fighting is essential for young macaques. Not only does it help develop social skills, it's crucial training for real battles when they're older. Even the island's unruly reptiles seem content in their new watery home. Obtaining a fishy snack has never been so simple. As the day draws to a close, it's time for one of Indonesia's most spectacular displays to begin. These tiny flashing lights are a type of Morse code for love. Triggered by the onset of the monsoon, thousands of male fireflies attempt to synchronize their flashes to attract females. Unifying their efforts increases the chances of being noticed. Fireflies are actually beetles, just a few millimeters long. Light is produced in their abdomen by mixing oxygen with a chemical known as luciferin. This bioluminescence is almost 100% efficient. The light produces virtually no heat, meaning little energy is lost. Females respond with their own illuminated message before the real fireworks begin. Indonesia is a diverse wilderness, an Eden to many in the natural world. However, creatures still face challenges in the tropical heat. With water sometimes scarce, and so little to eat. Fortunately, most adapt when times are tough, until the monsoon fuels an annual bounty, ensuring everyone ultimately has more than enough.